Hi, and welcome to the Culinary Journey. If you are watching for the first time, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you. I'm going to say, first of all, this is going to be about an introduction to holiday entertaining, cooking, eating. Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and that's the big kickoff for the holiday season. Today's show is sponsored by Mackadoodles, our beer, wine, and spirit superstore, and also the fresh vegetables came from Turnbuckle Farm. So we're going to start with just a cranberry sauce mocktail. And I tried to touch on some of the different flavors, traditional flavors of Thanksgiving. I hit a few of them, maybe not all. So we're going to start with 12 ounces of cranberry juice. I've doubled this recipe. 4 ounces of club soda. We have an ounce of fresh lime juice, 2 teaspoons of fresh orange juice, and okay, now this is a mocktail, but you could easily make it a cocktail. You could substitute vodka for the club soda. And if you wanted to do, or Prosecco, if you wanted to do bourbon, because we have a lot of bourbon drinkers around here, I would eliminate the club soda and the lime, but keep the orange in the orange juice, because orange, bourbon, and cranberry really make for a refreshing drink. So anyway, this is how we're going to kick off the season. And that is good. It's not real tart. It's not real sweet. So the other things we have going, if you're going to be doing cocktails and it's a special occasion, I like to use cloth napkins. And I know they're hard to find these days, but it's kind of nice to just, for a special touch, instead of paper napkins. But if you're going to do paper napkins, make them really fun. There are Santa hats, there's pumpkins, there's candy corns, all kinds of different things. So that is our, I'm going to call it our first course, our beverage. And we're going to move on to our Cornish hens. Now, in our home, my husband and I are not big fans of turkey. We just, it's way too much. There's only 2 of us. Even if we do a Friendsgiving, it's still a lot of food. And neither one of us really care for the flavor. Now, I do love chicken. Terry is a carnivore. So what I thought I would do this time is Cornish hens. I've never done a Cornish hen before, but I gave it a shot. I have a second one here. I'm going to show you how it was prepped. This poor little guy's a little overdone, but I think the flavor will be wonderful. So for the preparation, and I have greased this pan. You just rinse your little hen, pat it dry. And then we're going to make our sauce. So we're going to start with garlic cloves, and the recipe calls for 4. I cut it in half because I'm only doing 2. So we've got 2 cloves of garlic chopped, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and I really like to use Mile, the French Dijon mustard. I think it's a lot milder, smoother than some of the other Dijon mustards. Makes a really good salad dressing. Tablespoon of white wine. Oop, that's down all the way. 2 teaspoons, 1 teaspoon of fresh rosemary. Cut it from the garden this morning. I'm so glad that the weather is staying because the herbs are just doing incredible. And I have some Brussels sprouts. They're not ready yet. I can't wait. Thyme, a teaspoon of fresh thyme. And then we have olive oil. This is just a half teaspoon. And there's plenty of moisture in here. And half teaspoon of kosher salt and half teaspoon of pepper. And we'll get this handy dandy. Immersion blenders are great things. You just want to make kind of a liquid paste. The nice thing about this particular blender, immersion blender, it came with the immersion attachment, the little food processor, and then it also has a whisk. So you could do whipped cream very easily without having to bring the big mixer out. So with that already, we are going to put it all over our chicken, and we want to get it all over. I should have left my ring at home. Okay.
It shows my camera, it's hot.
All righty. We will take this out. And I'm just going to whisk a little bit in here. Okay. We want to get all of the crevices, and we also want to get under the skin. And these are a lot harder to get under the skin than just a chicken or turkey. So we'll just put that down in there. See if we can pour the rest of this right down inside. Okay, the way that you're going to cook this, I've got it in a little cast iron baking pan, and you're going to start breast side down. Oops. And at 400 degrees, you are going to cook it for 25 minutes. I go the wrong way. At that point, you are going to turn it over and cook it another 25 minutes. When it's done, you're going to take it out and tent it for 10 minutes. Let it rest, let all those juices collect, and then you have a perfect little Cornish hen. Now this recipe calls for 4 hens, but what they're doing is cutting them in half, and each person gets a half a chicken. Most of the recipes I've seen actually will allow 1 chicken per person. These are all very lightweight, but they are pretty meaty if they're not overdone. So anyway, that is our little chicken. And the nice thing, because it takes such a long time to cook, you can prepare your butternut squash. And I'll tell you what, I have my own way of cutting butternut squash. Again, it does have different seasonings. It's a sage roasted butternut squash. So we'll just find that. That recipe comes from the Tiny Book of Pecan Favorites. And I've used this book before here. It has a little bit of everything. So we've got, and I've cut this recipe way down. I love butternut squash. My husband, not so much. So I used just a small butternut squash. And the way I like to prepare it, I first cut off the large round end. And then I take off the stem end, and then I peel it. So it's a lot easier. This one was actually very easy to peel. So I peeled it, then I chopped it up, and then I had decided to do, get the other end of the squash, the big round bottom. And so I cut off the stem end of that, cut it in half, and you can see it wasn't a very big squash. It was a small one, so I can easily take care of that in a couple days. So that is how I cut it. I like to get off the nice long piece and make it easier to handle. And then, like I said, it was very easy to peel and then chop up. So got all that done. And then, again, for the seasonings, it's olive oil, chopped sage, garlic, thyme, kosher salt, pepper, and then, of course, for our garnish, I did use sage leaves and pecans. Now, when I'm doing anything with nuts, I do like to roast them. Doesn't take long. This dish was not going to take very many, so I just put them in a little pan on the cooktop and heated them up for about 5 minutes or so to really get those oils moving and give you the full taste of the pecan. So let them cool, set them aside. And to make the butternut squash, it was 425 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. And I'll tell you what, it tastes wonderful. I did, of course, do a little taste test on that. And I'll tell you what, it's a great alternative to sweet potatoes or any other type of potato. And it's very good for you, full of good nutrition. So that is for our main course, but you could also add green beans. I did can some green beans with mushrooms earlier this year, and they actually turned out really good. I used chicken broth for my brine, and it just gave it a really nice flavor. The other thing, back in September when I did the canning show, we did fennel and orange, which would make another wonderful side dish, especially for this time of year. Oranges really aren't ripe until kind of after the first of the year, but right now you should be able to get some oranges that taste wonderful. So we can talk about how that gets done. And I'll tell you what, it was a lot of fun to do that show and to put this together. I like to can things that I've never tried before. I've eaten fennel, but not fennel and orange that I've canned. And so anyway, I'm going to try this. And now we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we'll talk about these fabulous little bites. And they could be an appetizer or a dessert. So we'll be right back.
On Tuesday, November 18th, the City of Bella Vista will hold a special election. The City of Bella Vista would like to extend the current sales tax bond that is currently in place. A vote of yes is not an increase in our sales tax. With the passage of this vote, The city plans to secure bonds based on the promise of repayment with sales tax revenue. This is like a mortgage and a way for the city to borrow money and pay it back over time. This new bond would be used to pay off the existing debt, fund major long-term capital projects, free up current funds, and replenish city reserves, broaden the tax burden to tourists and out-of-town visitors, fund new capital improvements without raising taxes. If the ballot item to repay the existing debt does not pass, the city will face increased costs, delays, or cancellation of future much-needed projects. The city will need to use reserve funds to pay expenses and seek other financing options for these projects that could result in an increase for taxpayers. With the approval of this bond, first, Bella Vista will pay existing debt, $6.175 million for the remaining balance on the current sales tax bond, $5.12 million for the remaining balance on franchise fee bond. The city needs $8 million to complete the renovation of City Hall and the existing fire bays, and perform new construction of 2 fire bays, a gym, an office, and storage space. The fire department needs $6 million to build a new fire station and a replacement fire truck, plus 2 ambulance remounts. The police department needs $3 million to install 3 radio towers and purchase and maintain new police cars for 2 years. The street department needs $6.1 million to cover the cost of 2 years of street resurfacing and to purchase replacement backhoe and excavator, plus a new grader and roller.
Hi, and welcome back. Okay, so far we have done a mocktail. That could also be an adult beverage. Very easy swap outs on that. We've done our roasted butternut squash, which can take the place of sweet potatoes, whatever other kind of dish you might want to have. And then our little Cornish hen. And we've shown how to prepare the little Cornish hen. And other side dishes that somebody might have. I know green bean casserole is the big thing. Like I said, with 2 of us, you don't want to go into too much. So the other thing that I have prepared is these little puff pastries. And the surprise in there is that they are Brie Apple Puffs. So we start puff pastry, and I'll tell you what, I love Trader Joe's puff pastry because it is rolled, it's not folded, so it doesn't break apart. It is absolutely wonderful. If you're anywhere near a Trader Joe's or has a friend that goes, have them pick you up. I mean, whenever we go up to Kansas City or my husband goes to Iowa, we'll get 3 or 4 of these. But they also are seasonal, so you can't find them year-round. So you take it out, let it thaw. And it'll take, I like to let it thaw for at least an hour. And then I get out my big cutting board, put a little flour on it, and roll it out just to get it a little bit thinner. And then you cut out little squares. Now I used mini muffin tins to do this. And so I did about a 3x3, and I did get 24 puffs out of 1 sheet. So the recipe actually makes 48. Then you take your little wheel of Brie, and it takes about 8 ounces. You cut it up into little squares. And first you're going to take your little puff pastry, and you're going to push it down into your little mini muffin cups. If you do get any breaks in it, just take a little bit of water, seal it back up. Wonderful. So you put them all down in there, and then you put your little piece of Brie in each one. You need a medium apple, and I used Gala apples. They are my favorite. They're not too tart, not too sweet. They're a little bit soft, but I just really like their flavor. So I chopped up an apple, and then some of these have cranberries. So you could do Brie with just cranberry and walnut filling. You could do the brie with apples, cranberry, walnuts, and there's actually sliced almonds on the top too. So get all your things prepped, fill up your little cups, and then they go into a 375-degree oven for 12 to 15 minutes. When they come out, you're just gonna put a little bit of nutmeg all over them, and they're ready to go. So they are really good. I think it's a great take on cheese and fruit together. You know, we're always doing cheese boards and charcuterie, but I like to do things a little bit different. And I think this is going to become one of my new favorites, especially because the recipe goes so far. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about, you know, at holiday time, we always like to have nice napkins or place settings. And I had to chuckle. I have a friend who's traveling right now, and she's trying to pull together her Thanksgiving table. So I sent her a picture. I'm working on some new chargers, but I sent her a picture of this napkin. And she looked at it, she goes, "Is that a napkin or what?" So I said, "Well, it is a napkin." Now, normally when I do this, I make it much smaller because I have shown it many times. But this time, take your napkin, and you want a fairly soft fabric for this. So you're gonna fold it once and once more. And one more. You want just a nice, thick band. And then you're going to fold them over to make your bow. And because this is a big fold, it's a little more challenging to get through the napkin ring. But it looks so good when it's done. Okay, so you get it centered in there, and then you just pull out your tails. And there you go. And of course, if you want to stay simple, you know, you can do a fold, or my other favorite is the very simple. Just take a really fun napkin ring and pull it through. And of course, we have our seasonal plates. It's our little salad plate. Both great looks for your holiday table. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, let's see, I did find this recipe. The Apple Bites did not have a picture, it was just the recipe, and I think that Paul did show that. But all three of these books, one I've had for a while, but I found this year, Very Merry Cocktails, and I cannot believe how easy and simple these recipes are. It's at the very back that it has the mocktails, and there are several different ones, which I think was a lot of fun. You know, you've got grapefruit, ginger snap. I think there's punches, wintertime tea, mulled cider. I mean, just a lot of good, and all very easy, which I love. I don't think, you know, they even talk about how to rim a glass and what different glasses are. Did a show on that, at the very beginning. our tiny book of pecan favorites, which I've had for a long time, and I like this book a lot. And some of these I get for $5 at Barnes & Noble. You know, at the front of the store, they'll have all of these specials, and depending on what they have out there, you can get some good buys, which Taste of Home. This one is absolutely wonderful. It is new. This is where I got the recipe for the Brie Bites. But there, as you can see, I have many favorites in here. And I do use this book. You know, they're all fun. I haven't met a cookbook or a cocktail book that I didn't like, which, you know, I should really stay away from bookstores. I'm not an online shopper, but I do love to go in and get a pumpkin spice latte. The other thing I like to do, and I've talked about this in the past, are little place card holders. I don't use them to put around the table for names. I put them to tell you what dishes you're going to be enjoying. You know, it just makes it a lot easier so that there's no question as to what you're going to be putting into your mouth. You know, flavors, sometimes you'll just bite into something, you think, oh, that looks really good, but you don't know what it is. And then you take a bite and you're like, oh, that wasn't so good. So, you know, it just helps a lot. So that's another one of my favorite things to do. And then, of course, fall decor. It is the best time of the year. We've got pumpkins, we've got wreaths, you know, just all kinds of fun things. I'll step out and you can see we've brought in some pumpkins, some pheasants, and just decked up a little bit. I mean, holiday season is when we go all out decorating our homes. Some people go a little crazy. And next week for the design show, we'll be starting Christmas. It's going to be a lot different from years past, and I'm really excited about it. But this is just a good, easy start for your holiday season. Makes a great Sunday dinner, and it was all very simple. I chopped all of my butternut squash, put the seasonings on, put it in the refrigerator overnight. Same thing with the Brie Bites. I had them fully prepared, just put the whole pan in the refrigerator. And the chickens actually I did this morning. So anyway, that's my kickoff for the holiday season. And anybody have any questions or comments other than you want to eat it? I know, I think that's the first thing everybody said when I came in. Oh boy, that smells good. So, and I do have to make everything at home, but I have the wonderful Pyrex carrying cases, which have the micro hot pack in them that you put in the microwave. So it was warm when we started, and I'm sorry guys, but it's gonna be, and gals, probably a little cool, but I think the flavor will be good. Thank you once again for tuning in. I do want to stress we are a nonprofit. We are all volunteer. And you can help us a lot by subscribing. It costs nothing. It just helps us to expand our programming and give us more avenues to be viewed on. So anyway, happy holidays to everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving. And we'll see you next time. Bye.